We control the horizontal. We control the vertical. Peer into the infrared.
And fans, this is Tales from the Infrared. Join us as we dive into fandom and explore comics, gaming, sci-fi, and fantasy, all from a red pill perspective. Hold on to your phasers, it's time for a nerdgasm! Featuring Rachel Edwards, Jim Kelvarn, James Huff, Dean Esme, and Christian Shearson.
Hello, Red Pillars, and welcome back to Tales from the Infrared. I am your host, Christian Shearson, and joining me today, as always, is Dean Esme. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, that's right. Dean's not here today. But we do have a special guest, and I'm going to introduce her first. Catreece McLeod. How's it going, Catreece?
Pretty well. Thanks.
Yay, we have a Catreece. And, of course, joining me is Jim Kelvarn. How's it going, Jim?
Going well, Christian. You ready to have a little bit of fun?
I am. Nefanor Frall is also joining us. How's it going, Nefanor?
I think I partied too much last night.
Shouldn't probe
and
so
we
much.
We don't have a Rachel, but we do have a James Huff running the back room. How's it going?
Oh, it's going.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Yeah, it's quiet. So, we don't have any set topics this week. So essentially today's show is just going to be everybody's just shooting the shit, talking about current events and, you know, what's going on. We're obviously going to talk a little bit about GamerGate. We are going to talk about Doctor Who. I don't give a fuck if you don't like it. Doctor Who. And we're also going to talk.
Episodes?
Well, you could say you don't like the episodes, but we're still going to talk about it. We are also going to talk about The Walking Dead. And just before the show, Jim, I guess Jim wants to talk about Anita Sarkeesian again. I don't know why, but I'll just laugh at her and let Jim say his piece.
Well, actually, that's the whole point of it, is, you know, it really looks like, you know, she appeared on Stephen Colbert's show. As we all know, we had people trying to cancel Colbert, but it just kind of shows how much of a sock puppet of Jonathan McIntosh she was, because she really couldn't do a damn thing.
Well, no, she didn't, because I did see that segment, and I mean, she was just like, I know Colbert, like, it's just a character that he plays. Off screen, he's actually a liberal. I wouldn't say he's a progressive liberal. He's not like far left nut job to the left. He's a reasonable liberal, but he only plays a conservative on television. But
he's not a real conservative.
Well, no, he plays one on television. Yeah. He satirizes the conservative right on television. He's a satire artist. And a damn good one at that. I happen to be a fan of Colbert. Now, but he was hammering her with questions on the show, like, just name three games. And of course, I don't know if she was just genuinely not interested in having that discussion, or she couldn't think of any and just dodged the question. But
she pulled a Sarah Palin.
Essentially the exact same thing when Sarah Palin was asked about
when they're in the limelight. Like, it's a lot of people get stage fright, and I don't think Anita's really actually used to being center stage. Like, she keeps vying for it, but I don't think she actually has any experience being there.
Well, no, and I mean, as more information is coming out about Anita Sarkeesian and more information about the corruption in journalism through GamerGate and the, I have to say, amazing investigative work that's being done by, of all people, members of 4chan and 8chan, more so 8chan now since the whole 4chan collapse. But it's absolutely amazing what they're doing. But as more information comes out, it's actually becoming more and more clear that Anita herself is just a sock puppet for, what's his name, Jonathan McIntosh?
Jonathan McIntosh, yes.
He's
We're
like,
going
he
full
writes
McIntosh
all of her
right
scripts. Now. He's right. He apparently writes like all of her scripts for her Tropes versus Women in Video Game series. He wrote the script for the promotional video for her Kickstarter.
Well, see, that brings the question to me. I mean, she sits there and she talks about strong women and how she's a strong woman, yet how can you label yourself a strong woman when you have somebody else writing what you have to say?
A straight, white, cis-het male, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, come on. This is one of the things that, you know, it's kind of annoyed me from the beginning. If you think about it for even a second, this is hypocrisy, because she sits there and she talks about the straight, white, cis-het male and all this bullshit, and who does she have writing what she's saying? I mean,
I
come
think
on.
actually there's two parts of this whole Colbert thing that are hilarious. The first one is that she accidentally, once again, revealed she has her own personal army that she claims she never had. It was very apparent, and even Colbert referred to it as her posse, which was so funny. And the fact that throughout this whole thing, we've seen that the social justice warriors are going to turn on themselves, and now Suey Park is attacking Anita.
Oh, dude,
seriously,
please elaborate on that, Nephenor, please.
Yeah,
I'm
please.
curious.
Well, Suey posted a couple tweets after the thing going on about how, she gets on. So
wait a minute,
she's all
but
pissed
Suey
off
Park was
about it.
on.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. She's pissed off now that Anita gets to be a guest, but not her. She got
was
more
a guest.
limelight than me.
She was a guest. Didn't she connect through Skype or some sort of like video
that
chat
was in
service?
Colbert. That was another show.
Or what? Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Australian host, was it?
Yeah, and that's the one who said, "I think your opinion's stupid," and then she's like, in her little sing-songy voice, "You said my opinion was stupid." Like somehow that wins the argument.
Yeah, but then
Well-
how the hell did the cancel Colbert hashtag come to be then? If it wasn't on Colbert's show, what the fuck
was
did
beca-
Stephen Colbert say to provoke Suey Park into starting cancel Colbert?
Okay. What it was he actually was, Colbert was commenting on the racism of a certain sports coach, and he said, well, let's do this, we're going to do the yin yang yang sing song fund for racial support or something like that. I can't remember, for anti-racism or something stupid like that, and she got pissed and started that. So he was satirizing somebody else's racism. She called him racist and wanted to cancel him.
So
Yeah, I
she
mean,
missed the
does-
entire point.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing, though. I mean, there are a lot of people in this world who can't see satire, even if it's right in front of their face. It's
Most
like
of them are
satire is
feminists.
completely lost on them. They have no sense of the concept of satire whatsoever. But, I mean, Colbert is so obviously a satirical artist. How did she not see that?
I don't have a clue. I mean, I don't understand how people can't see satire.
Because she's a
this-
rich, privileged bitch. That's how.
Well,
It
there's
might just
also
be
the
she
fact
didn't
that
want to see it.
there's also the fact that sometimes satire does run the risk of falling into Poe's law. And it's so close, it's scary, but at the same time, I mean, when you do fall in that, you gotta think about it for a minute. If you actually can say stupid shit, and it sounds like you're being completely dead up honest, yeah, something's wrong there. Catreece, I was gonna say, doesn't Catreece know a little bit more about Poe's law than I know she knows more about it than me.
Yeah, well, the basic concept of it is of Poe's law for anybody who's listening that hasn't heard of it before. It's basically when you can't tell the difference between when something's satire or whether
Folks,
it's
I'm
reality.
adding Dean Esme to the call.
Oh, great. Hey,
We
Dean.
have a dean.
Welcome to the show,
Hey.
Dean.
Hey, am I live?
Yes,
You are.
Dean,
Yes.
live and in radio.
Hey, cool. I'm in the air talking to you all from Kennesaw State University. How's it going this morning?
Going pretty good, Dean. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. I'm standing here next to Girl Writes What, who is smoking a cigarette, even though that's not supposed to be done here on campus. Say hi, Karen.
Hi.
Why
Hi,
am I not
Karen.
surprised Karen is
Hi,
smoking?
Karen.
So what are you guys talking about
Switch
today?
to vaping, Karen.
Post what?
Right now,
I tried to get her to switch to vaping. She won't.
she doesn't have to. Okay, we didn't
Yeah.
get
Right now we're discussing satire in the media, specifically Stephen Colbert and Suey Park in relation to the Anita Sarkeesian interview that Stephen Colbert did.
I've been stuck offline, but I hear that Suey Park is mad at Anita Sarkeesian now.
Yes, apparently Anita's getting more limelight than her, and I see infighting within the popular social media feminists, and I love it.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. I think Brianna Wu is going to get into a cat fight with these people, as is Zoe Quinn. They're all probably going to start fighting. I thought that was. I've been thinking lately that is probably an inevitability.
Well,
So
Actually, Brianna and Zoe have already started.
Well, here's my thought on that. I mean, it's kind of funny. It seems like a bunch of, for lack of a better term, it seems like a cat fight for a bunch of little kittens fighting over scraps of food.
Mm-hmm. And this will, of course, leave their white knight male defenders paralyzed and helpless and not sure what to do. Well, except for the most manipulative and cynical among them, like Jonathan McIntosh. He'll know exactly what to do. But otherwise, all their white knight defenders are going to have no idea who to side with. Oh, Brianna, Anita, stop fighting. You don't need to fight. Yeah.
I won't be surprised if we start seeing more, quote, death and rape threats, and somehow they start coming from each other.
Well, that's assuming, of course, that they aren't generating their own threats. We already have every reason to believe, I believe every reason to believe that Anita and McIntosh engineered some of those threats. Not sure about the others, but I'm pretty sure in Anita's case. Cause that's how, I'm just gonna say it, I truly believe that Anita and McIntosh engineered some of those supposed death threats, but so be it. Listen, guys, I have a terrible connection here. So I mostly wanted to just call in and say hi and let you know so far the conference is going well. I've met the Sarkeesian Effect guys, Dave Arini and Jordan Owen. They're great. So far, no protests, just a lot of people sitting around talking. It's pretty cool. Apparently, when it comes to men's issues, Americans are more polite than Canadians.
I'm not surprised at all.
There's no screaming yet. There could be some. There's no interruptions. There's no beeping of horns. Just people saying hi and talking.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very weird because typically Americans have the stereotype of being the assholes of the world.
Oh, come on. We all know the real reason.
I have never
honey badgers
heard,
are there.
I have never heard of a feminist protest of a men's rights event in the States turning out like the Warren Farrell event at University of Toronto where feminists were literally assaulting police officers.
Well, to be fair, that did happen back in the 70s here in the U.S. with people like Aaron Pizzey and Murray Strauss and Richard Kelly. But one theory is that they've calmed down. Second is that the American sisters watched what happened to their Canadian sisters when they acted like that and decided, maybe we better not do that.
So are you saying feminists can actually learn from their mistakes?
Sometimes, maybe.
No, I still think it's because the honey badgers are there and they are acting as the shield that they won't cause the violence because then it's woman against woman violence.
That could be. Rachel Edwards is here as well as Karen Strong, and they emit a powerful anti-feminist force field that may be protecting the event. Tell you what, guys, I'm going to let you talk, but I may see if I can get Rachel to call in later. I've got to go back inside. It's cold out here.
Tell everybody the Tales from the Infrared group say hi and have fun at the conference there, Dean.
All right.
And if Sage Gerard is still there, tell him I said great job at that debate. Of course, Dean is already gone. But yeah. Anyways, I did see Sage Gerard's. I did see Sage Gerard's debate, and honestly, he tore asshole. He really did.
Dude,
he tore ass.
He won that debate on his opening statements alone. I'm going to say that. He won the debate on his opening statements because he took everything. He took everything the guy was going to say and he countered it before he said it.
Well, can you really call it a debate if the other guy refused to answer any of the questions?
No.
Well, it's not only did the opposition refuse to answer any of Sage's questions, the original rule stated that it could either be a 2 versus 2 or a 1 versus 1. And if one side's debate partner had to back out for any reason, emergencies, whatever, the other side would have a choice to continue as a 2v1. No, No, the side where the partner could not make it has a choice of continuing it as a 2v1 or making it a 1v1. And they decided, all right, let's make it a 1v1, but then the other person's partner showed up, sat on stage. It was essentially a 2v1 anyways. And then during the Q&A period, she was planted in the audience and given priority for questions.
Well, that's kind of unfair.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then Buddy had the gall to say to Sage, I don't have to answer any of your questions.
Well, I think he also had the gall to sit there and accuse Sage of things instead of trying to counter his arguments. His whole basis on his side of the debate was
Hey,
one
Dean's calling
big...
again. I'm adding him in.
Okay.
Yes, Dean.
Hello?
Oh, it's
Hello?
Rachel.
Hi. It's
Ah.
Rachel.
Yeah,
Hi,
Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
From Kennesaw State University. We wish
You're
you were
dead to us,
here.
Rachel.
Yeah. How are you guys doing?
Great,
We're
how are
doing
you?
well.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Hi, Catreece.
Hi.
We're kicking ass.
Yeah, they totally had to replace you. Don't run away on them like this again. I'm scared of the
Stefano
limelight.
there?
Yes, we have the Nephenor. He's just kind of quiet right at the moment.
Too
Unusually.
much
usual.
fun last night.
Well, I'll give you guys back to Dean, I guess.
Good, because
right.
there was something I wanted to say to Dean, but he hung up
Oh,
like a dick.
he wanted to say something to you, Dean.
Oh, you want to say something to me?
Yeah.
What do you want, nerd?
Fuck you.
Oh, thank you.
No, if, I wanted to say if Sage is still there, tell him I said great job in the debate. I saw it. He tore ass. Like, he won it hands down.
No, he really did. And unfortunately, the guy he debated with has not been honorable enough to acknowledge it. But, instead he's just kind of pouted, and that's too bad. But, okay, I'll let Sage know that, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have fun.
Don't
All
get
right, have fun,
gingeritis, Dean.
All right, bye.
All right, so
as
where were we?
I was saying that basically Brian Clymer's whole debate tactic was nothing more than a big, huge run-on ad hominem.
So basically, he didn't have anything of value to say on his part, so his whole tactic was to delegitimize via character assassination.
Yes.
Typical tactic.
Well, my issue with that is, if you can't actually win a debate on the merit of your arguments, A, there's a problem with your arguments to begin with. B, there's a problem with your position. And C, it's time to start looking at maybe rethinking your worldview. I mean, I could be wrong, but somebody
Yeah, you're
please.
wrong. I mean, trying to rethink your worldview, that means they'd actually have to think.
Well, even more than that, I think you can come at it from a point of equality. You say flat out, like, it doesn't matter who says it, doesn't matter if you're black or white or you're gay, straight, male, female, whatever, doesn't matter. All that matters is the argument itself. Like, debating and logic, by definition, are the great equalizers. They are the equality that everybody's supposedly fighting for. So if you're going to attack somebody based on who they are rather than what they're saying, you're basically denouncing the whole concept of equality in the first place.
This is true, but I just failed. I don't understand how people can't see that, if I go outside and I look up and I see that the sky is blue, and for lack of a better way of putting it, if Adolf Hitler walked up to me, looked at me, and said the sky is blue, I can't argue him. Even if it is Adolf Hitler saying the sky is blue, you gotta agree with him when you look up and you see the evidence saying this guy is fucking blue.
Yeah, he's right on that, but he's still a dick.
Oh, yeah, he can be the biggest dick in the world, but if the guy's right, if the person's right, whether you like it or not, if the person's right, you gotta agree with him.
You know who else said that, Jim? Hitler.
Oh, thanks. Well, you know what? And apparently I agree with Hitler. Fuck me. Oh, wait, I don't care.
Well, let's get back to this supposed infighting, or the potential infighting. So Suey Park is pissed off at Anita Sarkeesian because apparently Anita's getting more spotlight than her.
Zoe Quinn's pissed off at Brianna Wu because Brianna's claiming to be the most hated person of GamerGate.
Well, yeah, I mean, how is it not obvious to people that this is just a fight right now? There are 4 prominent social media feminists who are now fighting to determine who has the biggest victim card. How is it not obvious to people?
Here's the thing. These people want attention. I mean, you hear feminists sit there and say that women are just wanting guys' attention. This is an example of women wanting attention. I mean, how blind do you have to be to not see this?
Well, there is one nice thing about this, though, being part of GamerGate, is that they're trying to one-up each other.
Well, at some point, they're going to sit there and they're just going to jump the shark, and they're going to go beyond Macintosh and just completely let the cat out of the bag at how racist and bigoted they really are.
Well,
but
Sue's
again,
already done that.
Yeah, she's done it quite a few times now, and that hasn't really deterred her supporters.
That's because her supporters are also racial and bigoted.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. And here's the voice of, I guess you could call me the voice of reason on today's show. Surprise, surprise. But you can't get equality in any form if you start off from a bigoted, racist, sexist point. It just
you, the
doesn't
voice
work.
of reason? I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, well,
who the fuck are you, and what have you done with Jim?
I'm his clone. All right.
Well, typically clones are dumber. What happened there?
I don't know.
Maybe the truth is Jim is really the clone.
Sorry, I've been refining my methods.
Oh man. So what else? What else is happening in GamerGate? There was the we talked about the interview that Stephen Colbert did with Anita Sarkeesian. We talked about Suey Park being pissed off at Anita. Now apparently, and this is the first time I've actually heard about it, apparently Zoe Quinn is pissed off at Brianna Wu now. But what else is happening in GamerGate? I know Sargon of Akkad had an interview with a reporter at the BBC.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was the BBC put up a grand total of 1 minute. I saw Sargon put up the full 15 minutes that he talked with the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, the guy was just basically the whole time going at the anti-GamerGate side of things and saying, well, isn't it about this? Isn't it about this? And Sargon just kind of basically said, no, it can't be about this, because while there may be some people in the fringes of both sides being a bunch of fucking pricks, it's really just about this, and they're painting it as misogyny and hatred of women when these people are raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to support the very causes that they're saying that GamerGaters are against.
Yeah, Catreece, don't you know we hate you because you're a woman?
Oh yeah, I know.
I
know I do. Internalized misogyny for the win.
Yeah, we hate you. I mean, that's GamerGate in a nutshell. We hate you.
Yeah.
And
well, it's even
you're
worse
on here. You're supporting our woman-hating message, and
it's even worse, Christian.
We don't know if we should continue to hate you or love you for supporting our woman-hating message. but we hate you, but we love you, but hate, love, hate, you, love, hate.
Yeah,
Brain
Jen's
explode.
actually got the point there. I actually am a female game developer, so I'm basically the one they've been talking about this whole time.
Yes, honestly, I don't know why I did not think of that when I introduced you on the show. Yes, Catreece is a female game developer. And not only is she a game developer, but she also teaches other developers how to develop games. She's a game developer herself, and she's actually an instructor. She's also a consultant. And she writes for 20oz.com, which is
and she's our
a
editor.
website that we have started. She's our writer. She is our chief editor. And some of our best articles have come from Catreece. I'm not going to lie. Some of our best articles have come from Catreece. Although I will say Nephinor's Destiny article was absolutely fucking amazing too.
After I edited it.
Yes.
It wasn't that much editing, so shut your mouth.
I know. Yeah, you're actually the one I have to edit the least.
Oh, thanks. That makes me feel so much better about my, yeah. Anyways. But no, yeah, continue on. Okay.
What were we talking about again?
Sargon of Akkad, talking with the BBC.
And then we've also got David Parkman, who's been doing a really good job of presenting both sides fairly, unlike some people. And then Brianna screaming, but you're being biased!
Wait. Okay, headache from the stupid. She's crying that he's being biased by presenting both sides?
Well, you know, he was very adversarial with her, so therefore he's biased.
Let's have
Okay, so she's attacking him for presenting both sides of the argument. She didn't like how he presented both sides of the argument, so she attacks his character.
And not only that, Zoe Quinn's doing it too.
Catreece, go for it. You had something to say.
Yeah. Well, this has been like a common tactic, not just in like GamerGate, but it's been used for quite a long time. Like in Nova Scotia here, for example, there's a law that basically states that if you have never taken a driver's license, for example, back in like the 30s and 40s when you used to mail out for them, if you have never taken a driver's license, you never have to get tested. So a few years back, they tried to actually do a thing where they said, okay, well, this is dangerous as hell. So how about we make it so that absolutely everybody, every time you get your license renewed, you have to take a driver's test to make sure that you still are capable of driving properly. And
that seems logical.
Yeah, it does seem logical. The argument that was given, however, was that it was biased and discriminatory against the elderly.
Okay, wait a minute. So let me put this in a different thought. If a chimp has a gun, it's a good idea to let that chimp have a loaded gun? I mean, I'm sorry. There comes a point, I mean, I'm getting old. I'm kind of getting to that point where stretching the wrong way, I pull muscles. But, you know, there comes a point where you got to sit there and say, okay, I can't do this anymore. At that point, you got to sit there and say, step aside and say, I can't do it.
Well, yeah, but the
How
thing
is it
is,
discriminatory?
it has been shown that the act of doing something difficult makes you think that it's actually difficult for everybody, so therefore you must be good at it. If you do something and it seems easy to you because you're very skilled at it, then you assume it's easy for everybody and you underrate your skill at it. So basically, if you get to a point where it's harder and harder for you to drive, the chances are also that it'll be harder and harder for you to recognize that you're not a very good driver. So the point is, the people that need the most help are the ones least aware of the fact that they need help.
Okay, yeah, I get that. I understand that, but at the same time, I think that's a failing on the individuals themselves to recognize that there comes a point where we can't do anything anymore. When I was a teenager, I could sit there and run for hours and play soccer for hours, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. If I tried to get out on a soccer field now, I would die. It's not that the game has gotten any more difficult. It really isn't. The difficulty of it doesn't change. Your ability to do the thing changes over time. Literally, that's what it is. And
so what you're saying is that you're an ageist.
Yes, I'm an ageist. Fuck off. But, I mean, that's the logical conclusion if you think about it.
You just hate the elderly.
I hate everybody. Get it right.
I just hate the entire human race, and I've been trying to wipe you out for years.
Yeah, well, thankfully you've failed like Marvin the Martian every time.
Yeah.
Well, after a while I started realizing that it was more entertaining to watch you try and kill yourselves.
He's got a point.
Which is a possibility. Sadly, it's a possibility.
But
moving on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's, moving on. So the Sargon interview with the BBC reporter. What else has been happening in GamerGate? I know we've been having there's been a lot of community streams. I've been on a couple of them.
Yeah, I was on
what
one
else
last
has been
night
happening?
With Darkstar.
How did that one go?
Oh, pretty good. Lauren almost fell asleep in it again.
Oh, of course, it's Lauren.
Okay, I must have missed this. Somebody explain this. Somebody explain this. So is Lauren just like always falling asleep in these things?
No, they're usually late at night and she's tired.
Yeah, the community streams typically start at around like 8 o'clock, but they don't end till like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Well, yeah, I mean it's kind of hard for us old folks to stay up that late, especially when we got to get up and a couple hours later for work. Your body gets used to a certain time being awake, being asleep. Damn, the human body just isn't capable of doing the things that we think it should be.
That's why I'm not human.
Shut up. I have a shotgun.
I have a spaceship with lasers.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, Nefanor wins.
Okay.
All right, so let's start. Let's get back to the GamerGate topic. Or are we done with GamerGate? Did we want to move on to?
I think GamerGate's done. Kat, didn't you have something you wanted to talk about?
Done, but not dead.
Definitely not dead.
I do, but it's not directly related to GamerGate.
Oh, go ahead. It's a different topic. Go for it. Bring it up.
Okay. Well, for a different topic, the game Warframe has, as of yesterday, started a no-shave Movember thing where basically in the game you are able to get big bushy mustaches on your character models, including the female ones. Don't ask. And they're
going to.
Yeah, and they're raising money for prostate cancer research, which is a really cool way to do it. Actually, for the chat, I'm going to give a link to their video.
Well, see, I think this is wonderful. I mean, we do know that prostate cancer research is way underfunded, and it's people are helping out however they can. That's a good thing.
Yeah, when I was actually doing the research for the article that I wrote on it, I looked it up, and men die to cancer at about a 1.4 to 1 ratio compared to women, so about 40% more often. But when you actually check, like, male-related funding, like if you look at, say, breast cancer versus prostate cancer, the research funding is anywhere from 4 to 1 in favor of breast cancer over prostate to, in some countries, as high as 16.5 to 1 times against in preference of breast cancer. I mean, breast cancer is like a big deal. And I'm not arguing that point. It needs the research funding. But to give such a tiny amount to prostate cancer in the process, it's kind of like something's a little weird there. I don't think it's malicious. I don't think they're trying to be sexist, but there's definitely a very blatant bias there, and it is costing people their lives.
Well, the thing is, they did some research. They were looking at the rates of contraction, the rates of curing, the mortality between breast cancer and prostate cancer, and the two of them are almost equal in terms of those things. So in terms of how deadly they are, they're about equally deadly. But as you said, there's only a fraction of the resources going to one when the other gets more.
Makes you wonder what's going on. I mean...
Well, like Warframe is a game that I used to play. I know my brother played it quite a lot. He really, really did like it. But I did play it. It's not a bad game. It's, especially for a free-to-play. I will say I wasn't a big fan of some of their pricing schemes for the items. However, some of them were fair in their pricing as well. But just the fact that they're doing a Movember event, an entire month-long MoFrame Movember to raise awareness for prostate cancer. All funds received from the purchase of in-game mustaches go towards prostate cancer research, and they're asking their players to directly donate to prostate cancer research as well. I think that's just a fucking fantastic idea.
Indeed it is. We need more like that. Now the question is, for their, oh god, I can't even think of it, the mustaches available, do they have the big, handlebar mustaches too?
Yes, actually they do. The way they're actually doing it is they started off with a standard mustache, like the kind of big one you'd expect that you'd get from like grandfather or something, and there's actually several different mustaches that are available that are being unlocked as they raise new funds. So they started off with the Magnum, they've moved all the way up to unlocking, what did they call it? It's not giving me the mouse over. Well, anyway, they've unlocked 3 of the 5 mustaches, so the more donations they get, the more mustaches are available in game for everybody. So basically, as people are donating, they're unlocking new content in the game.
Well, I'm just going to break in here and I'm going to introduce another special guest. She is the queen of GamerGate. She has a fairly large following on YouTube and on Twitter. It's Queen Martha. How's it going, Martha?
Hi guys, how's it going?
We may end up going back and talking about GamerGate. We kind of just wrapped up our GamerGate discussion when you pinged me on Skype, but we can go back if you have anything that you'd like to say on the topic.
Yeah, guys, I just wanna really quickly apologize, because yesterday, I know, like, the Halloween and the candy, but it was really, I was working all night, actually, so I ended up, like, going to sleep really late, so then I just woke up and I see the message and I'm like, no, but damn it, like, I'm super late, but, I'm really glad that I still get to be here with you guys. And
Well, that explains why you sound so tired.
Yeah. Not only because of my accent, I sound weird, but now because I'm tired as well. So
Yeah, where is that accent?
I live in Mexico, but everybody always tells me that it's a very unique type of accent, and I guess that it's because I live in the north part of Mexico. I don't know. Yeah, but I guess I'm sorry that I come in and we have to revive GamerGate or whatever. But
don't worry about it. It's fine.
Don't apologize for it.
We've been talking almost nothing but GamerGate on this show for like the last 2 months. So
yeah, it's very interesting that you say that, because truth of the matter is that in GamerGate, as you say, like, it's been like 2 months, like, we started almost like the 3 month already, and like, it's just incredible because it never stops, like when I started doing my live streams or videos about GamerGate and whatever, I thought, at some point, there's gonna be something that's not gonna, like, so, like, boring or whatever. It's gonna get boring and there's nothing gonna be, of interest, right? So it's gonna stop and die down, right? But it has been going for 2 months strong of repetitive things that continue to happen, and now this media talks about this, and now this media talks about that, and like, it's insane. It's crazy how it continues to be relevant after 2 months. What Twitter hashtag has done that,
Follow Friday. That's the only one.
That is true. You know what? That is true.
But I think there are two very different, distinct, and different reasons why GamerGate as a hashtag has lasted so long on Twitter when pretty much every other hashtag just, after 2 weeks it's done. I think one, it's because it is a true consumer revolt. And the people using the hashtag truly believe in cleaning up the corruption in not only the video games press, but also the industry as well. Not just journalists who are corrupt, but also developers who rely on those corrupt journalists for promotion for their game. Yeah. But also another very different and distinct reason is that the opposition to GamerGate doesn't want it to go away, because the opposition are strong feminist social justice warriors who see it as an opportunity to inject their gender political ideologies into the games industry. So they don't want it to die. As much as they say they do, they don't want it to die. And you can see it in the various attempts at gaining more attention from Anita Sarkeesian, Brianna Wu. Now Sui Park is getting into the mix, Zoe Quinn. They're all playing the victim card. They're all claiming they're getting all these threats from all these different people in GamerGate, even though there's been no evidence to link any of the threats to GamerGate at all. But they just continue to do it just to get more media coverage.
And it has... Oh, go on. Sorry.
I think there's one other thing that we have to consider as well, is they're all trying to get in the last word. Like, they don't want to have GamerGate get the last word. They want to get the last word. But the thing is, because there's 4 of them, even if GamerGate stopped tomorrow, they would still be going at it for the next few months, just because none of them could argue without being the one to claim that they were the one that won it.
I feel like it has become profitable for them, and that's a big reason why GamerGate keeps reviving for them. Every media coverage that they do, that they participate in, every crazy thing they could say on Twitter with, not only like gaming journalists that are freaking insane, but also these feminist women who are basically profiting out of the situation, every tweet about like, toxic masculinity and things like that. It continues to feed up Gamergate, and it continues to be a topic of interest. And for good or for bad, I feel like that it continues to have that life because there's always something to say and something new to say. Like, we already have all the information. I would say maybe not all. I'm sure something else is going on behind the scenes, but the basis of information enough to understand there's a corruption going on, right? But these feminists jumped in basically to just give them a shield, right? Like something to say, oh no, this is because they want women out of the industry, man. And look, like, these heroes are being attacked, and, the heroes basically become the victims for them, and you see Anita Sarkeesian and Brianna Wu. Not too long ago, like, actually, I think it was yesterday, I got a tweet from somebody that tagged me in a tweet, and the previous tweet was, if you guys want to donate to one of the victims of Gamergate, here's the link. It was something like about Brianna Wu, right? That's why I say it's profitable. And then somebody said like, well, are you gonna donate to Queeny Martha as well? Cause she supposedly got her information out, like, to the cartels for being pro-Gamergate. Are you gonna donate to her? And no response was made from that guy. And I find it really stupid. Not because I want the money, because I'm not asking the money. My Patreon was made as a joke, and it's comedy, and it shouldn't be looked as serious. But I find it really, really funny that the hypocrisy is so strong in the opposition, and that, as I said, like, these women, over the hypocrisy, over their lies, they continue to profit. And as you said, it's something that they say they want to stop, but they don't want to. And I think that would be, more than anything, the reason why. I mean, the media looks at them and be like, oh, this poor little woman, but I'm sure they understand that it's also a profitable thing to talk about, and that's why they continue to talk about it as well.
Well, there's an old saying, follow the money and you'll find out who the culprit is. I mean, if you, let's follow the money. Who's profiting from Gamergate? Anita? Zoe? Brianna?
And now apparently Sui Park is trying to get in on it.
Actually,
and she's going to try to profit from it.
There was an article yesterday that was talking about the financial implications of Gamergate, and they said in it that, in truth, yes, a lot of people are losing money over it, like the game industry and all that, but there are two big winners, Google and Amazon, because of YouTube and streaming.
I actually agree with you. I'm not gonna lie, I've never been, like, hiding anything like that. I have a growing YouTube channel, I would say, and obviously since Gamergate, it has grown a lot. And I've gotten an okay amount, like, my earnings raised. I'm not saying that, oh my god, I'm so able to pay my bills now because of YouTube. No. It hasn't, unfortunately, got to that point. But, it has raised a considerable amount versus before Gamergate, right? So I can only imagine people who have bigger audiences and bigger subscriber base, what they're earning right now from these situations, And it's really interesting because, as you said, like, a part of the revenue share, YouTube or Google stays with it. You know, like it's part of them. Like, you know, they put the ads on my videos and I get a part of the money, but they get also a big part of the money, and they're winning big time with this situation, you know? So
you get a small fraction of what they get paid, but yeah, I mean that's why I'm wondering. Google and Amazon are making a ton of money from this, so I don't think it's just Anita, Brianna, and their crew. I think we also need to start looking at maybe Google and Amazon for trying to continue this, because they're getting a ton of money.
right. I mean, I'm a little like unsure of how. Well, you know, like I agree with you. I think that it's just the platform itself. I think even Twitter has won a little bit because of this. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that the hashtag has been kept so alive, so relevant, with so many users, and it keeps getting more and more and more with every media coverage. So I'm sure we'll look into it as well. I'm sure that Twitter has also won a considerable amount. And I would say Twitter, it's a good, you know, besides Google, I would say Twitter would be in the race as well, just because when every website shut down the conversation, you know, I'm talking 4chan, Reddit, all these websites that shut down forums, were banning people left and right. Twitter was the only one that wasn't banning users for talking about Gamergate. And the people weren't being censored. And I'm sure that they tried censoring the conversation, you know, the social justice warriors, but they fail because, you know, Twitter has very specific rules. So does YouTube, right? So I feel that, you know, it's an unmonitored site with like rules and TOS and community guidelines and whatnot, that obviously if you break into it, you know, you get my point, right? So I think that Twitter obviously is getting a lot of this because, as I said, it keeps being revived and it keeps going really strong, you know?
Well, speaking about shutting down the conversation, just recently, The Escapist, which up to I think like a day or two ago, they were the only mainstream gaming media website that allowed a Gamergate forum.
Mm-hmm.
But a day or two ago, they actually ended up locking that thread. Now there's, you know, some people are saying it's because the thread got so long. It was something like 10,000 pages and they just couldn't let it get any longer. But other people who were participating in that thread, who were pro Gamergate, are now coming out and saying the entire exchange with moderators, when the moderators would come on to the thread and post, it was very biased. It was very one-sided. It was clear that it was enemy territory. A couple of people have actually called it enemy territory. But The Escapist ended up locking that thread, so it can't be posted anymore. We can't say for sure at this point whether or not they'll allow a second thread to be created to continue the conversation. However, most of them seem to have went over to the Gamefront forums to continue the discussion there, because Gamefront is part of the FileFront network of websites, and they're 100% neutral. And they don't get involved with the discussion in their forums. Their moderator teams don't. They keep it completely neutral there, and everybody gets their say. So
That's
I think
interesting. That's very interesting. I have some little evidence that might lead to the Escapist having infights, but I have hold the evidence because, first of all, I don't know what legal implications could give me from dropping the evidence. And also, I feel that it hasn't been either the right timing nor in like a more consistent way of like saying for sure this is going on, you know? But I have a couple of screenshots of people talking, and it seems that people inside the Escapist are not happy with the Escapist position that they took with GamerGate, and are talking really strongly about it, not publicly. So within the circles of the people that we already know have involved in the Game Journal Pros email list, right? And people who are absolutely anti-GamerGate. So I've been like thinking of how to release that yet, but regardless of that, I feel like, you know, there's obviously some conflict of the Escapist of how to stay neutral when there's people in the Escapist who obviously are against GamerGate, you know, and that is like a really difficult thing to do when you, as a company, try to stay neutral, but you have people working for your company who are not neutral. And professionally speaking, they should stay neutral, but they don't want to. You know, they don't want to. They strongly want to talk against GamerGate. And it's a really interesting situation because I've also known game devs who have been pushed to be anonymous or to hide their opinion and stay neutral because of the opposition being so strong and pushy, right? And wanting everybody to come out and say they're anti-GamerGate. You know, like, I feel that they want to be the most public and want to put it everywhere, and any media outlet that they get for them is a win, you know? And it doesn't benefit them for a media outlet, for example, like the Escapist, to be neutral. So it's a really interesting thing. It is. And I'm very sorry for the people who, you know, cannot continue their conversations in the Escapist forums. I remember when I heard about it, we were all very excited. I personally didn't take part of it. I'm not necessarily a forum person, but I can understand that, you know, it probably was really frustrating, but that's what I think that's going on, in my opinion, based on what I've seen and the information I've received, you know? Are you guys there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay. I was like, oh damn it, did I talk so much I cut off?
No, we're just absorbing what you have to say.
Yeah, processing it.
Yeah.
Meditating upon it. Finding true enlightenment with the GamerGate.
Oh, there's a fun one. We're
queen-
finding enlightenment.
The queen of GamerGate has spoken. It is just taking some time to process it and absorb it and find the verbal feng shui.
The inner movement? Okay,
Yes.
that sounds like a bowel movement.
Just remember,
There is
she may be the queen of
verbal
GamerGate, but I am the alien overlord of GamerLate.
Gamer late?
Oh.
Gamer light, eh?
Yeah.
Is this
I,
like
for
a
one, support
completely
the
new,
alien
unrelated
overlords.
movement?
We do not support our alien overlords. For people who need to know this, this is the legal disclaimer. We do not support the alien overlords, ever.
Yeah.
Hey, I voted for the other guy.
I voted for the allergies.
Well, we are at the halfway point the midpoint of our show. We have about another hour left to go. Who here is a Doctor Who or a Walking Dead fan?
I have been getting kind of annoyed with Doctor Who because it's like, you know, in the last few seasons, it'd be like one bad episode, and then a couple of really good episodes, then maybe one okay episode, then a good episode. You know what I mean? This season, it's been like, okay, let's go on to the next one. Let's see if it gets any better. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Let's see if ooh, a good episode. Next one is, whatever. Next. And it's just, you know, we have the occasional Doctor moment, but it's just, it's almost like this season has been so disjointed. You know what I mean?
I'm sort of seeing the Doctor sort of make a transition out from the sort of like the liar in disguise more towards like he's open that he's lying. Like he has no problem. Like, don't worry, you'll be okay. Are you lying to me? Yes. He's sort of transitioning to this, you know, this person who has no qualms about being honest about his lies. And this last episode, the entire Earth was like covered in forest. We're starting to see Clara. Actually, we're really starting to see Clara move back again. And she let the Doctor go on by himself, and she chose to go with Mr. Pink, her math teacher boyfriend. And so we are seeing Clara begin to lose interest in traveling with the Doctor. But again, I'm not sure.
You know she's dying in the Christmas episode. You know what's happening. For tonight's episode,
there was something very interesting that happened on last week's episode, on the preview for tonight's episode. I don't know if I should spoil it, but I mean, it was on the preview, so if you've seen it.
It's on the preview, people should see it. No spoilers. There is no spoilers.
It's going to be it's going to be an episode about Missy, so we're finally going to get to see more about what that's all about. We saw a little bit of it in like the first two.
Missy is the master.
Missy is the master.
Yeah, we have to do that for Dean since he can't be here.
Just for Dean, even though I'm not sure if I agree
or not.
We all
disagree with him. We all disagree with him.
I'm surprised. One of the shows of one of the Canadian talk shows on Geek Stuff, he agrees. He's been saying the same thing.
Wow. Well, I mean, there might be something to it. But anyways, we will be seeing more about Missy and more about that afterlife / promised land that we saw in episodes 1 and 2 of this season. And Clara said something very interesting in the preview for tonight's episode. There never was a Clara. Clara never existed.
But that might not be her, so we can't, that could be taken out of context. That could be like a clone
it really,
or something
really
like
could
that.
be. It could be a Nestine duplicate.
Or remember that one lady that could completely copy somebody like that.
It could be. But anyway, I am excited for tonight's episode just because I have been waiting an entire season to find out who the fuck Missy is, where the promised land is, what part it all plays within the Doctor Who universe, and what the fuck is going to happen to Clara. I've been waiting an entire season for that, so I'm excited about tonight's episode.
Well, I'm just hoping to see Clara die. I liked her with Matt Smith ever since Capaldi. It's like, get her out of here.
The chemistry sucks.
There's no chemistry.
It's always been.
Dude,
it's always
there
been
was more
obvious
chemistry
from the
between. There's more chemistry between fucking what's her name, but Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman in Star Wars. Come on.
Oh God. But no, with Clara, it's always been obvious, even right from the beginning, that she was not going to be a permanent companion, or she wasn't going to be a more permanent companion like Rose Tyler or Amy Pond. She was going to be like a Donna Noble or a Martha.
Yeah, but you liked Donna Noble and you liked Martha.
I wasn't a fan of Martha, but I did like Donna Noble.
Well,
Donna
no,
Noble,
I'm not saying you specifically. I'm saying people liked Donna. People liked Martha. With Clara, it's like
I like Martha, and I don't even know her.
Well, no, in the beginning, I liked Clara.
Of course you
do. In the beginning, I liked Clara, but I am starting to see what everybody's talking about with Capaldi version of the character of Clara. She seems very bland. She seems very like sexy teacher, like she's trying to be flirtatious, but in a very bland, stripped down, PG sort of way.
You can't do sexy at PG. I hate to break it to people. You can't do sexy at PG. Sexy requires a minimum of R, and sometimes you have to skip into the X.
Sometimes.
I'm not saying the triple X, I'm just saying the X.
I'll say the triple X.
Well, we can get into the triple X later. That's the orgies after the show. Come on.
Yes.
But
you have to wait.
Yes, we have to wait for the orgy. But no, to really do sexy right, it has to be a minimum of R. You have to be able to sometimes throw out that blatantly obvious let's fuck or some other thing like that.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, there are times where subtlety can really work to the benefit. I mean, you don't have to be like, hey, look, big pair of tits.
I'm not saying it doesn't.
You can be subtle
work.
with it.
I'm not saying subtlety doesn't work. I'm saying you have to have
Clara's
the
version,
to go into.
No, Clara's version of sexy can work. You can be subtle about it. You can be flirtatious in a subtle way and have it work. I just don't think they're taking the time to write her character properly because she's only a temporary companion. She's going to be replaced. And she's going to be replaced soon. So I don't think they're taking the time to fully flesh out that character. They just want something quick for the time being while they develop the next more permanent companion for the Doctor.
Or while they develop the Doctor himself.
Yes.
Fair enough. Well, I would like to jump off Doctor Who. I mean, I know it's a favorite of yours, Christian, but I'm sure we have other topics we can bring up as well. I actually have one. And that's the Marvel's new Captain Marvel movie, as well as the rest of the Marvel next set of Marvel movies coming out. Yes.
Hey, Marvel, I'm gonna tell you something. I do like superheroes and superhero movies. My boyfriend and I are so into the super movie scene, and it's really like interesting because I am more of a DC Comics fan. I love Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, everybody, right? But Marvel has totally brought a lot of stuff to the table in the movie scene that it's like, you have to watch it. You know, it's so good. The stories are so good. The characters, everything, they're so good. You just have to, like, watch it, man. They are so amazing. And I feel that DC needs a comeback. I personally did like, the Batman trilogy. I know that they're gonna reboot Batman now. I was not so much of a fan of the Superman film, but it was alright. It was a good film. But, that I feel like with the idea of them trying to do a Justice League just right away, it's sending the message that, yeah, we want to get in the competition. However, I feel like DC Comics still has a lot to prove themselves if they do want to get competition in the movie scene with Marvel, because Marvel has brought up so many great movies, and these next years are gonna be of great superhero movies that I honestly cannot wait to see. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, I mean, Marvel jumped on that bandwagon early. They started getting their introductory movies out as soon as they could, so that they could do the Avengers. They started with the Hulk, they did Captain America, they did Iron Man 1, 2, and 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, 3 came after
3 came
Avengers.
out after the Avengers, yes. They, however, they did sort of skip a few. There was no dedicated Hawkeye movie, there was no dedicated Black Widow movie. They only pretty much hit on like the big guys. Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk. They introduced Loki as, sort of like a semi-villain in Thor, but then he became the villain in the Avengers. I feel DC has a lot of ground to make up for. First of all, they have to do a new Green Lantern movie because the character who was the Green Lantern, that was played by,
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
The character who was the Green Lantern in that movie is not the Green Lantern who is a member of the Justice League. So they're going to have to redo the Green Lantern.
Hold on. Actually, Hal Jordan was the original Green Lantern for the Justice League, number one. Number two, the Hal Jordan in that movie is not Hal Jordan. He is not Hal Jordan. He is not the character who is basically fearless. I mean, you did not see Hal Jordan. You did not see a test pilot. You saw basically a wimpy guy who's unsure of himself. That's not that kind of person who would take on the role of a test pilot. You do not go up into a plane that has never flown, never been tested, and risk your life if you're unsure of yourself. You have to be the cockiest motherfucker on this planet to say, yeah, I can not only get it up in the air, fly it, and make sure that it gets back on the ground safely, I can do it with my eyes closed and one hand tied behind my back. That's basically the attitude you need to have.
I mean, they still have to do, I feel like they're going to have to do another Batman. I know they're sort of like introducing Batman in Man of Steel 2. Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Why?
Don't get me started on Affleck.
Why?
Don't get me started on Affleck. But, getting back to what she was saying, Marvel did it right. They sat there, they introduced the characters, and Marvel has a ton of very interesting characters, but people don't really realize that because you literally have to go back 20 and 30 years and to read most of them. And the original Avengers, Avengers number 1, they fought Loki. And that, while it wasn't the team that was in the movie, the team was actually in the Ultimates. It was the Ultimate Avengers, which, if you look, most of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is nothing more than the Marvel Ultimate Universe. It does show the strength of the characters and how good these characters are and how relatable these characters are. DC, the characters aren't as relatable. Batman's probably the most relatable. And DC's trying to make their characters relatable. You can't really do it. Sometimes with certain characters, like Hal Jordan, you have to make them just over the top. You really have to make them over the top. Hal Jordan, you have to do that. Superman, I mean, he's just like the most powerful superhero in the DC universe. He's got to be a total Boy Scout.
He's a god motor. That's what he is.
Well, for lack of a better way of putting it, I mean, yeah, he is.
Yeah, keep in mind that the point of Superman is not for Superman himself. He's not even really a character. He's more of a backdrop. He's a setting that everything takes place in. He's like the zombie in a zombie movie. The zombies aren't the purpose of the zombie movie. The zombie movie's purpose is to show the people that are living within the horror of being stuck in a zombie movie. Like with civilization falling down around them, the people are having everything go wrong. Like when the most dangerous thing that should be in a zombie movie is other people, not the zombies. And when you look at Superman isn't really the focus of pretty much anything to do with Superman. He's the backdrop so that other characters can shine through in relation to him.
Yeah, I think that's where the original Night of the Living Dead actually got it right, but also where the first Superman with Christopher Reeve got it right, and that there were certain parts in the Man of Steel where, you know, you saw Perry White, Lawrence Fishburne, basically risking his life to save someone else. Yeah, that's exactly what Superman is. He's the guy who inspires others to step beyond themselves instead of being the actual focus. And I think that's where DC really got it wrong on that. But at the same time, I think that's where they're going to get it wrong on a lot of their other characters. Batman can be the focus of the movie, but he can also be the secondary focus, the backdrop. With how they're going to do a Justice League movie, which I think is going to totally flop because of this next with Batman versus Superman or Superman versus Batman, whatever it is. You actually have to show humanity, which you really can't do with some of these characters, and I don't think it's going to really work.
I think that as you said, like Marvel, as you know, took the time to work in their characters, and DC Comics, because they're faced with the competition, they're like they're push them all together in a movie and let's all pray that it's gonna work out, basically. Which as I said, as a DC Comics fan, it does make me a little disappointed. I will still go watch the movie and wait for it to come out and criticize it, as it goes. And I have my hopes high. Hopefully it works, but I doubt it. I doubt it because I think that they should have taken their time. I understand that Marvel was like ages ahead of them. I understand that, but you cannot just launch such a big movie with like the big main characters, and the only storyline prior to that was the Superman movie that wasn't all that great anyways. And then you're throwing in Batman and you're throwing in even Wonder Woman, and there has been rumors that Flash is gonna be an appearance. Like, okay, calm down a second. Bring it down a little bit. It's like, where are the stories? And then you see that there is gonna be a Justice League movie, but like the Green Lantern movie, the reboot, is gonna be the last movie they're gonna do. I don't know if you saw it, but there's a calendar for all superhero movies, Marvel's and DC's movies, up until 10 years from now. Right, and the last movie that's gonna get produced is the Green Lantern reboot. But it's like, why are you doing the reboot at the end, but putting Justice League somewhere in the middle? I want to see the characters come together. Like, I understand there's no need for, like, every single, as you said, like, Marvel, I think, played really smart. They focus on Iron Man, then Hulk, and Captain America, and Thor, and whatnot. They didn't necessarily brought up Black Widow or Hawkeye, but you still see them in these movies somehow, right? You know them. You know what they're doing. So you are already related to the character. So when you go and see the Avengers, you already have an idea of how the personalities and whatnot and how they're gonna clash and how they're gonna come together. So it's always fun and interesting to see the different personalities that you already know in the same screen. However, with DC, it's like, here are all the heroes, and eventually you'll get to see their own little movies where they explain everything, which can work. I'm not saying it can't, but I find it like a little bit more difficult, you know?
Well, the thing with it is in order for a really, really good Justice League to work, the script has to be phenomenal. The acting has to be top notch. Whereas the way Marvel did it, you know the characters, you know a lot about the characters before they come into the Avengers movie. So they had a little bit more leeway with the Avengers, but they were able to launch into something greater. With the Justice League movie, you really can't launch into that because you don't know the characters. It's like, it'd be like introducing somebody, a complete unknown, into a video game, like, say, Mass Effect 3, and just starting it off with a completely unknown character that had nothing to do with anything up to that point. And that's what Go ahead, Kat.
Sorry, a lot of the problem there, too, is that if you don't constantly read the comics, like, if you're looking at Marvel, like, everybody's heard of the X-Men. Even if you don't like the X-Men, you've heard of the X-Men. If you haven't even heard of, like, Thor, you at least know of Thor, even if you haven't read the Thor comics. Like, you get the rough idea of what's going on. When you're looking at, like, the DC ones, if you don't read the comics, you have nothing to go on, because the only two characters they really have are Batman and Superman. They have other characters, but they're not really well known. Like, a lot of people have heard of the Green Lantern, but when you had things like Watchmen come out, nobody had even heard of them for the most part. Like, people who read the comic did, but if you didn't read, like, the graphic novel, then you did not know they existed. About the only other thing they have is, like, Wonder Woman and Aquaman, who's basically, like,
Don't you dare say Aquaman is such a fucking punk.
I know
everybody makes that mistake.
I know he's actually supposed to even be stronger than Superman, which is kind of screwed up, but as far as anybody else who does not read the comics is concerned, he's a joke.
Yeah, as a mainstream character, a lot of people see him as a joke. I mean, as you say, like, he's not. He's a very strong character of his own. But in the mainstream, people don't know him to be like that. People know him to be like the Cartoon Network character.
Yeah, well, that's...
Oh my god, he can talk to fish!
Well, that's what I'm saying, is DC's got all these things running against them with these other characters that nobody knows anything about. You pull out Aquaman in the Justice League movie, you can't really do that because everybody's going to be like, oh my god, they've got Aquaman, it's going to be a joke. Whereas if you bring out an Aquaman movie first and you show him, you show his nobility, you show his strength, you show what he's like, and you introduce people to this character beforehand, and that's the thing. That's the only way DC is really going to do a good job with a Justice League movie, which I applaud them for bringing the Flash out on TV. That's awesome.
It's not gonna be the same guy, by the way. It's different universes. Unfortunately, because I really like the Green Arrow and the Flash on the TV series. I don't know. I do.
But that's the thing, is if if you show at least something of the character in another way, in some other way, you can see who they are. You can see the character, the personality. DC's Justice League movie would do so much better than it really is going to end up doing, because all you've really got is Batman versus Superman, and let's throw in these characters to introduce them, and yeah, it's gonna. I hate to say it.
Doing it in the right order. Like if they had The Flash and Aquaman released first and then the Justice League, but they're doing it in the reverse order, and it's just going to screw everything up.
There's one thing that really worries me though if there's one thing that really worries me about the Justice League movie is because they're going to have Aquaman, who's, as far as I understand it, his only power is he could talk to fish. Oh, and he's a good swimmer. The final battle against like the main villain in the Justice League movie they're gonna shoehorn Aquaman in there somehow, have something to do with water, something to do with like gathering up the fish to help out, and it's gonna turn into like Aquaman's only role in the entire movie is gonna be like, yay, I'm helping.
Here's the thing that's kind of forgotten by a lot of people is that Aquaman moves really well underwater. When you take him out of water, he doesn't have water resistance, he has air resistance. He's supposed to actually be on par or possibly stronger than Superman in raw strength.
Yeah, there's also the fact that Aquaman is capable of surviving in crush depth. We're talking like you put a human being down at this level, they're crushed. He is capable of surviving that. He is bulletproof for the most part. I mean, he has, in the comics, gone toe-to-toe with Superman. And he's capable of doing that. On land, it's a little bit tougher for him. In the water, he's a god. I hate to say it. But that's where people get a lot of the mistake is what you see is, yes, he can talk to fish, but he's also as smart as Batman.
There's also another thing to consider. Not just fish. He can talk to Kraken. That's a big fucking ally.
Well, any sea creature.
Assuming they write the Kraken into the story, sure, I mean, that would be kind of epic. I'm just, the only thing I'm hoping they do is they take the character of Aquaman and actually do something clever with it, rather than just fucking shoehorn it in like we have to have Aquaman. So here's a short water scene in the final battle. I want them to do something clever, and I want them to do something epic with it.
I don't remember what the name of the guy who's writing the Aquaman comics is right now off the top of my head, but I know that he's been going really far out of his way to try to force the matter that Aquaman is not a joke. Like, he takes it really seriously. So I think there's a good possibility if they have the actual writer for the comic to have some input on the movie that it'll do well.
I agree. I would like to read really quickly because I just found the calendar of the year for people who might not know of the timestamps just for DC Comics, right? Because the years from 2015 till 2020, there's like 1,000 of Marvel movies in between, right? But there is first, on 2016, it's gonna be the Batman vs. Superman. And then we're gonna get Suicide Squad. And then until 2017, we're gonna get the Wonder Woman movie. And then we're gonna get the Justice League one after the Wonder Woman. Then there's gonna be 2018, The Flash. And then Aquaman, right? And then until 2019, there's gonna be a second Justice League movie. Before that, there's gonna be the Shazam movie. And then in 2020, there's gonna be the Cyborg and Green Lantern. And there's some movies of DC that are still very unknown of the exact date. The Justice League Dark and the a Superman and a Batman movie as well. So
Wait,
we're
they're doing
not sure.
Justice League Dark?
Yeah, it says Justice League Dark. That's what it's going to be called.
For those people who don't know this, Justice League Dark is basically all the magic users of the DC universe. And they deal with the really, really dark and gritty aspects of DC Comics. That is something I would rather see before an actual normal Justice League movie.
That would be cool. They have some awesome magic users in the DC.
Oh yeah. I mean, and then you've got Constantine, which just came out on TV, which the new show actually looks really well and did a better job than the movie with Neo from The Matrix. I forgot his name.
He knows Kung Fu.
I don't care if he knows Kung Fu. He did a really lousy job in that movie.
Yeah, Reeves is not exactly the best actor for that kind of stuff.
No. But this is what I'm saying. I mean, if you don't know the characters, if you're not well versed with the characters, especially like Aquaman, Cyborg is a really interesting character. He was a football player who got into a major accident, and his father saved his life by turning him into a cyborg. Mm-hmm. And if you don't look at him, if you don't know who he is, you won't find out that he's actually very capable. He's helped to lead the Teen Titans at one point, at several points actually. But if you go off the Teen Titans Go series from Cartoon Network, you're going to see a lot of campy bullshit.
Yeah, no. Let's not.
That was a fun show, though, just for fun's sake.
The first
yeah, but it's a fun show. But
the first one was really awesome. Like, of course, it's not like super devoted to the comics, but it was still good. It was alright, in my opinion. The new one, the Teen Titans Go, don't get me started, alright? That hurts me really deep in my soul, and I don't want to talk about it.
But you get what I'm saying is it completely just annihilates any seriousness, which you'd have to have some seriousness in this movie, but you throw in Aquaman, you throw in Cyborg, and the only experience most people have outside of the comic books is just the 70s TV Justice Friends, the Justice Friends.
Oh God, that was funny.
Or Super Friends for Aquaman. You've got Teen Titans Go for Cyborg. People are going to look at this movie and they're going to be like, "Oh my God, I don't even want to go see it."
They're going to be expecting something different of the characters for sure.
Yeah, I think they named the Justice Friends appropriately. It kind of made sense as basically Superman and his friends who watched while he solved all the problems.
That is so true.
Well, I grew up on that, and I can't say that that's actually what happened all the time, but yeah.
All the time.
See, I liked when Cartoon Network made fun of the Super Friends with some of their advertisement. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, they had Wonder Woman and Aquaman tied together, and I'm sorry, Wonder Woman, my ability to talk to fish is of no use right now, and she rolls her eyes like, duh.
It's funny. It was really funny. For, comedic purposes, it's like really like funny, of course, but as we were saying, mainstream people have an idea that this is how the characters behave, this is how Aquaman really is, how Cyborg is, and whatnot. And, like, I don't know how many characters are gonna be on the Justice League movie itself. Like, are they gonna appear, or are gonna wait until 2020 or whatever beyond that to see them all together? Like, I'm just really confused on how the whole thing's gonna work out. But, I mean, as I said, like, as a DC Comics fan, I just hope, I close my eyes and I hope for the best, even though everything is against them right now,
Well, Marvel did a good job of planning out what they were going to do.
Yes.
They planned out the whole thing. They knew what they were going to do, and then by the time DC realized what they were doing, they're like, "Oh fuck, we're way behind."
Yes.
Well, I'm looking at this. Timeline, and I'm seeing some really great movies coming up. Ant-Man's going to be interesting. They're going to reboot Fantastic Four, hopefully with a decent cast and a good script. Suicide Squad, I know enough about them. I hope they do that justice, because that would be phenomenal, because they are an interesting set of characters. It's basically villains that have gone to jail, and in order to get pardoned sooner, shall we say, they
do this
work
missions
for the government.
Yeah.
And I can see that. And, some of these are going to be really good.
Well, I will say I'm very excited about the Sinister Six movie.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be great.
And then there's
They got some
Sandman.
good ideas, just whether or not they can actually make them work is the problem.
And also the Venom and Carnage. I mean,
God,
I think those characters are a little overhyped, but still, I mean, I am a fan of Venom and Carnage.
Well,
I can't wait to see how that movie's going to turn out.
I've always liked Venom in the sense that he's not really a bad guy. I mean, the original Venom, Eddie Brock, he was just a guy who he did some bad shit. Well, it's not even got shit on in life. It was actually, he was a news reporter, and I'm gonna take some pot shots at GamerGate here. He was a news reporter that was just basically corrupt. He wasn't checking sources, and he was publishing bullshit. And what was it? Peter Parker and through the help of his alter ego of Spider-Man, basically proved him to be a hack. And he blamed Spider-Man for his mistakes, for the bad things that he did, and he started going after Spider-Man. But there has been times where Brock and Parker got along to an extent.
So wait. What you're saying is that when Anti-Gamergate tried to steal the Gamergate new icon, what's her face? I forget her name. Vivian James, right? What they should have done is they should have used Venom.
Yeah, no, because that would have just for anybody who knows anything about Venom, that would have just completely wiped them off the map.
But it's appropriate. Oh, that's why they're not. Oh.
Exactly. It's appropriate, therefore they're not going to use it, because it would have shown them exactly for how they are.
This just in. Rumor. Apparently in the Justice League movie, they're all going to have cameos. Or not in the Justice League movie. The Batman versus Superman movie. They're all going to have cameos.
Yeah, that's old
That
news.
is old news? Well,
I've
heard it.
Yeah. Actually,
I
just
about
heard
2 weeks into the announcement of the movie. Go ahead, Queenie.
Yeah, my boyfriend just sent me a message because he's listening and he loves comic books as well. And he sent me something saying that, talking about like the Dark League, it says rumors in November 2012 suggested that Guillermo del Toro, which is a great director by the way, was working on a Justice League Dark film titled Heaven Sent. It would feature Deadman, the Spectre, Swamp Thing, Constantine, the Phantom Stranger, Satana, Satara, Sargor the Sorcerer, and Etrigan, the Demon. Del Toro later confirmed in January 2013 that he is working on such movie with the working title Dark Universe and is hiring the screenwriter for the film. Del Toro revealed Swamp Thing, Constantine, the Spectre, Deadman, Satana, and Satara are characters in the story.
Oh.
That makes it so good, honestly.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been a big fan of the magic side of DC for a long time, and Zatanna, her father Zatara, or wait, no, I'm sorry, that might be her nephew Zatara. Some of that gets kind of mixed up, but the one I most want to see is the demon Etrigan, because he actually every line he speaks has to rhyme, and I'm wondering if they're actually going to follow that.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Although, what's the other one that's kind of an interesting one that they bring in DC? Nixelpix or whatever?
Mr. Mixelplick? Yeah, I don't even know how you can pronounce his name. I mean, that.
But I know that you have to get rid of him. You have to have him say it backwards.
Yeah, but he's kind of a pain in the ass in Superman's ass. But yeah, I don't think he would. I don't think he. Well, here's something most people don't know. Batmite is the Batman version of Mixelplick. But he was actually just trying to be a superhero and Batman's buddy, but it kind of, always backfired with him.
The fun of DC. It has some good stuff, and it also has some complete flop.
Oh, yeah.
It's true of everything, DC... but you only remember the good stuff unless they're really well known for the flop.
That is true.
Like some of the one Ang Lee Hulk movie.
What Ang Lee? I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't. I don't even have that on my
your
DVD
memory.
case.
Are you?
I don't know what you're talking about. I refuse to acknowledge that.
To be fair, Marvel have had their fair share of flops too. I mean, if you go back 20 or 30 years, Marvel has a long list of characters that
really
just never went anywhere. There are some characters that they didn't really go anywhere but they should have. Like my favorite Marvel character was Domino.
Yeah.
I fucking love Domino. Like, she is just an amazing character. And it's a female character, by the way.
By the way, check the timeline. X-Force is on there, too.
I know. However, they haven't really done anything with Domino for the longest time, and she's a kick-ass character. But there's also a long list of Marvel characters that they didn't go anywhere because they were flops. The audience, the readers didn't connect with those characters.
I'll give you a better one than that. I mean, let's not even go with flops from other characters. Spider-Man back in the 70s had a TV show and several TV movies. Big flop.
Hey, those Spider-Man cartoons in the 70s were
No,
good.
I'm not talking about the cartoons. I'm talking about the live
one.
action.
I was listening to the theme to that earlier. That sounds so much like 70s porn music.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? I have to look it up now.
Captain America had like 2 or 3 movies back 70s, 80s. Fail. The closest to actually being successful was the Hulk with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, which featured
How about the
Thor.
horrible Thor movie they tried?
Yeah, there's a horrible Thor movie that they tried back.
The Punisher?
The Punisher
with Dolph Lundgren?
Dolph Lundgren, the Punisher War Journal, which came after the actually good Punisher with, oh God, what's his name? Oh God. Okay, yeah, but there was a good Punisher movie with Travolta and oh God, who was it? Okay, but yeah, a lot of stuff. Some movies it's hit and miss, but you got to know what works and what doesn't. And sometimes just trying to get a character out there, it generally tends to miss. You need to go with what worked with the character in the first place. I don't see that happening with the DC movie. I doubt that'll happen with the Wonder Woman movie when it comes out. But I think Marvel will do a great job with the Captain Marvel movie, which will be actual Carol Danvers, the original blonde bombshell superheroine. we'll see what's going to happen. I can't wait to find out.
Well, we have about 10 minutes left in the show. I do want to talk about The Walking Dead because, tainted meat!
Walking Dead, man, not more zombies. These things are dead.
Literally.
I think we beat the zombie topic to death.
Not
brought it back.
We still have to talk about The Walking Dead because last week's episode was fucking fantastic. The cannibals from Terminus are no longer a threat because they're dead. Rick had no qualms chopping that one guy up with a fucking machete. My God, that was a fucking great scene. I mean, you saw the hatred in Rick's eyes as he pulled out the machete and just started hacking away at him.
Well, that tells a lot about the actor's ability right there, and I got to give him that. But hey, Christian, I haven't watched it.
You have? Oh my! What the? Come on, man! Keep up.
Hey, man, I've only got so many hours in a day.
And, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, and, with Constantine just recently airing, even though I've seen the first episode, months ago.
Oh, shit, yeah, I gotta catch up on that, too.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much, not to mention Agent Carter, if I remember correctly, is going to be airing soon, if not already aired. There's more going on.
Needless to say, there's a lot. There are a lot of geek television shows. But I mean, I'm only sticking to a few. I haven't seen any of the Flash. I've stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've stopped watching The Strain. For me, it already jumped the shark. I've lost interest in it.
Well, I will give you one that I think is totally worth it, and that's Gotham.
Oh yeah, my boyfriend keeps talking about it because I'm obsessed with the Arrow and Flash right now, but he's like, no, you have to catch up on Gotham. It's so good. He's just obsessed with Gotham, so I do have to catch up on it as well. But yeah, I continue hearing everything that it's so good.
I can tell you from what I've watched, which is the first 5 or 6 episodes, it is phenomenal. I'm sorry, the first 4 episodes. It really takes James Gordon's journey from just a rookie police detective at Gotham City PD and it looks at everything that's going on. You see a young Bruce Wayne after his parents were killed. You meet Selena Kyle as a young orphaned thief on the streets. A young Oswald Cobblepot trying to work his way up in the mob. And you just see all the corruption. I mean, when you've got cops talking with one of the major lieutenants for the mob bosses for how to solve cases. That should tell you something. And you've got Jim Gordon as the only honest cop around. And I'll give you a slight spoiler, but it's also to whet your appetite. There's actually a scene where, in order to show that he's playing the game, he has to kill Oswald Cobblepot.
Oh.
In front of his partner.
That is a pretty nasty thing you have to do when you have a situation like that, because it makes for a good plot element, though, because if you don't do it, then you can't enact any change. If you do one small act of crime, well, it's not small, I mean, he's killing somebody, but if you do one small act of crime, then you have the opportunity to prevent many more.
Well, there's also the fact that by committing the crime, he's corrupting everything he stands for. By not committing the crime, he risks his life and his fiance's life. So it's literally you get this complete human drama of what should I do? What is the actual best thing here? And I would have to say, Gotham, of all the new shows this season, Gotham has gotten me just hooked. I just wish I had time to keep up with my TV.
Well,
This is why I watch it online.
You certainly have to catch up with The Walking Dead, because I mean, that's that's a main topic of this show. I mean,
You keep
Doctor
pushing
Who,
The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. I mean, of course. I mean, that's what we talk. In fact, we talk about it because every single show we hope we actually get Paul on, because he's a huge Walking Dead fan, and we want Paul to come on the show much more often.
He has to keep pushing it. If it was called The Running Dead, he wouldn't need to push it.
Yes.
Ba-dum-bum. The queen of puns here.
Well,
Be
we
careful,
can always
she
call
will
it the Shambling
punish
Dead.
us.
Well, 5 minutes left in the show. I think this might be a good time to begin wrapping up. For Catreece and Martha, what we usually do at the end of the show to wrap up is I'll go down the list of people here on the panel and give everybody a little bit of time to share any final thoughts on any of the topics that we've discussed. So why don't I start with Catreece, if you have any final thoughts on any of the topics we discussed.
Not too many. The only one I can think of is to re-emphasize the No Shave Movember MoFrame one, because I think that really is a good cause that people should be getting behind no matter what. Like,
yes,
related to the show or otherwise.
Yes, amazing cause, amazing thing that they're doing, and yes, people play Warframe just because of MoFrame Movember. Also, Martha, if you have any final thoughts, I'm just going to go with our special guests to give them priority, time. Martha, any final thoughts that you have on any of the topics we've discussed today?
Yeah, I would say, that definitely for GamerGate, people have to, stay informed in the topic. And somebody, I remember, said, that the best way to keep informed on GamerGate is from the community itself, not necessarily from the media. Of course, watch and be educated in everything that's been going on. But if you want more on GamerGate, obviously catch up with what the people in GamerGate are saying and what they really want, which is really important. As far as the superhero movies, I think that we have a huge selection to go for 10 years for now, so some of them seem good, some of them seem very promising, so hopefully DC knows how to step up their game. I have hopes in them, so they step their game.
DC's kind of late to the game here. Marvel had about a good 10 years to sort of prop up their superhero movies before the Avengers. DC kind of has to catch up. Jim, your final thoughts.
Well, I have a couple of things. One, I have to do the shout out for Dean. Missy is the master. But for me, I would have to say watch Gotham. It is one of the best shows I've seen in a long time.
I'll check it out, but I make no promises.
Fair enough.
Nephinor, your final thoughts.
Very interesting thoughts. Very interesting.
Nephinor.
Wow.
Sorry about that. I accidentally had myself muted there. My first thought is GamerGate of Thrones. That which is dead may not die, so you cannot kill us. We will not die. We're already dead. You've said it many times. We're not dying because we're already there. And we're coming back stronger.
And James, our man in the back room who makes everything run so smoothly. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yes, my girlfriend's been watching Gotham, and she's come back to me with really good reports on it. She says it is as dark and as gritty as what Gotham should be. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch it by her suggestion. 'Cause she's got a really, really good handle on what, the Batman universe is, the whole Batman saga has a really good handle on how it's supposed to be. And she likes that a lot.
Well, like I said, I'll check it out, but I make no promises. I do have a very, very particular taste when it comes to my sci-fi. As for me, the only final thought I have is...
Take the red pill.